And you want me to sit in my seat and stand idly by and allow this craziness to happen? You can come after me if you want, but you elected me to stand up. You elected me to use the law. You elected me to go to court. You elected me to continue to challenge this administration. You elected me to stand up for the least of God's children. You elected me to continue fighting on, and I will fight on.
We've responded to the baseless attack, and my attorney has prepared a 2-page, 3-page letter responding to each and every allegation, which is baseless. And let's go through that, okay? Mm-hmm. So the first allegation is that the house in Queens that my father purchased almost 30 years ago, somewhere in the mortgage documents, he indicated that I was his wife as opposed to his daughter. But the deed, in fact, says I am his daughter. My father has since passed, and the house has since been sold, period. Next. There's a house in Virginia that I purchased that I was a co-signer with for my niece. My niece's children, and I wanted to have her home. Mm-hmm. And so I co-signed the home. When I signed the power of attorney, I did it electronically. I wanted my niece to basically sign for me at the closing. At the bottom of the power of attorney, it indicated that I was a resident of Virginia. Prior to that, I had indicated to the mortgage broker in caps, all caps, I am not a resident of Virginia.
You're Tish from Brooklyn.
I'm Tish from Brooklyn, period. And in the mortgage documents, it indicates whether or not you plan on being a resident of Virginia, and I marked no, no, no. But of course, those were not publicly available. The only public document that's available is the power of attorney, which was not a basis for the mortgage.
So this is, I think what's striking about this is you see that this is a strategy the Trump administration is using against prominent adversaries and people it views as political enemies, but also against visa holders and any of the marginalized people that Trump wants to go over. If there's somebody that Trump views as an enemy or someone they're targeting, they start combing through the documents to find any pretext.
But let me just, so in all fairness to the Trump administration.
Oh, no.
Yeah, in all fairness, I've got to be fair. This didn't start with the Trump administration. It started with an individual who apparently was either he or he knew someone who was the subject of a case that we brought in New York. And he claims that a relative of his or a friend of his committed suicide. And therefore, he was seeking revenge against me. He uncovered these documents, which were innocent, no intention to defraud anyone, and submitted them to the Trump administration. And they, in fact, weaponized the federal government, DOJ, and decided to, and are basically arguing and have announced that there's a criminal investigation. Part of it is, again, this retribution campaign, and it's as a result of, one, the civil case where we secured a $454 million judgment and interest is accruing, which is on appeal in the First Department in New York. And two, because we've been very, very active standing up and defending our democracy.